pleasure to call Ashwin from Promethean Energy, Siddharth Mehta from SE Ventures. Folks, are you here? Yeah. Oh, you're here. Okay. Thank you very much. Please be seated while I just tell a few things to these guys about. I know a lot about Ashwin. I don't know enough about Siddharth, but I'm here to learn as you guys are. But I know a few things, yeah. Ashwin has been my friend for a long time, and he even sometimes conditions enough to call me his mentor. But look, jokes apart, he's doing a great job. He's from IIT Bombay. He did a stint at Boston Consulting Group, and before that he went to IIM Ahmedabad. You can't ask for more in India, right, in terms of education, in terms of work. And then he said, I'm going to do something else. And that was, I think, 10, 11 years back, something like that, when I met him. So IITM, computer science, that IITB, IIT Bombay. Sorry, I said IIT Madras. It's a slip of tongue, my friend, nothing against IIT Bombay. We keep saying IITM so many times. He did computer science at IIT Bombay, IIM Ahmedabad, BCG. So then he said, look, I'm going to do something else. And then he has been working on this fascinating thing, which he's going to talk about in energy efficiency. This is hard nuts and bolts engineering. And I think it's taken quite some time before, for these guys to go somewhere, get somewhere. But they finally seem to be getting somewhere. And that is why he's here. I told him you should come share your journey with many other startups like you, and also probably investors, entrepreneurs, corporates. This is real. This is reality when it comes to trying to do something impactful at the engineering level with deep tech. He personifies that to a large extent. Siddharth, it will be my pleasure to know a lot more about him, but he was earlier, I had known him when he was with TDK Ventures, and now he's with SE Ventures, and in both places, I think these guys do a lot of deep tech related things. I was talking to him very briefly in the morning. He said there's a huge preference and interest they have in climate. But as he said, I'm here to learn a lot more about him. So folks, thank you very much for coming down. The overall thing says from emissions to efficiency, but that's all just an indicator. That's all. We had to put up something on the stage, so we have put up, but I'm sure these guys have a very nice way of both putting the team together and talking all the stuff they want to talk. Do it the way you want it, guys. 20, 25 minutes. Thank you very much. Get along. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Narsi. And I know this is, as Shaili was saying, not the best of times to have a panel session, especially post-lunch. But brief introduction on myself, and then we'll try to make it as interesting as possible. Realize there are a lot of startups and few VCs in the audience, so we'll try to tailor make the discussion in a manner which is helpful for the startups especially. About myself, really quick, I'm one of the investment partners at a venture capital fund called SE Ventures. It's a single LP fund backed by Schneider Electric with $1 billion asset under management. We invest in Series A to C startups, which gives us good flexibility of engaging with both the early stage ecosystem as well as the late stage companies in India. The two big focus for us is climate and industrials, as Narsi was also saying before. We tend to make investments within software and hardware focused climate tech companies, as well as AI-led industrial companies. It's a global fund, so we invest in companies not just in India, but across Southeast Asia and US and Europe. I primarily cover India and Southeast Asia as the investment region for my focus. I have Ashwin with me. I know you did hear from Narsi about the compelling facts about Ashwin, but I'll maybe let him do a quick introduction about himself and the company he's working for.
Yeah, hi. Thanks, Narsi, for the introduction also. So I lead energy efficiency at Promethean Energy. So it's a company based in Mumbai, and we focus on decarbonization of industrial heating systems. The problem we are seeing is that within the Indian industry, there are two types of energy, electrical as well as thermal energy. And while there has been a lot of work that has happened towards decarbonizing electricity in industry through a mix of solar, wind, renewable, or a mix of all of these, very limited work has happened on the heating side. And that's where we come in. We have a set of solutions like heat recovery systems, heat pumps, and a combination of these systems are generally provided to factories to help them either eliminate their existing fossil fuel fired heating systems like LPG, coal, natural gas, etc., or at least reduce them to a significant extent. That's the kind of work that we have been doing, and we work primarily with manufacturing industries in India and South Asia.
Oh, fantastic, Ashwin. And maybe I'll just take this opportunity to ask Ashwin a few more questions. And in the audience as well, if there are any questions which you have for Ashwin or for myself, please raise your hands and we can address them maybe at the end. But a quick starting one, Ashwin, I know industrial decarbonization as a thesis for venture investors is also getting a lot of momentum. Yeah, and this is not just in India, but across the globe. We are seeing many investors trying to look for companies in the industrial decarbonization space. What are some of the key challenges which you as a startup have seen in this space from a customer perspective? Like what are the industries facing the challenges and where do you think a company like yours is really solving them?
So what I can tell is that decarbonization as a theme is fairly new to Indian industry. And decarbonization alone is not something that generally excites Indian industry. If you can combine that with a financial incentive, as I think one of the sessions in the morning was also saying, if you can show superior returns on the investment that are being made compared to the traditional sources of generating heat, then decarbonization becomes a good wave on which you can ride upon. In fact, pre-COVID, my anecdotal experience has been is that decarbonization was not even a thing to be discussed for decision making. It was purely a cost saving projects. Cost saving was the primary motivation for industries to do it. Post-COVID, I have seen that the top management CXOs of pretty much every industry has come in and said that we want to decarbonize. Let us pick up projects which are financially attractive and fall under the decarbonization gambit and get them implemented quickly. So that wave of decarbonization is just growing right now. In terms of challenges, I would say that Indian industry doesn't value innovation too much. If I go to a factory and say that I have a brand new technology, it's very difficult for the industry to accept. Industry doesn't want innovation, industry wants reliability, industry wants consistency, industry wants no headaches. So you have to build a solution which is supposed to be rugged, reliable, and yet generate savings and carbon footprint reduction. So this is one of the key challenges we have seen. Having said that, if you can build out such a product, then the adoption is really increasing very quickly right now. That's one of the key challenges of industrial decarbonization, especially if you have a set of innovative products. From an investor point of view, I have generally seen that hardware-based systems don't scale as quickly as many other software-based systems. So there has been some apprehension in the VC ecosystem saying about how do we fund products which grow linearly and not exponentially. And maybe that's something that I want to throw back at you as a venture capital arm who also invests in growth stage capital on how do you see this dichotomy of innovative hardware products versus their ability to scale exponentially. What's your thoughts on it?
No, very fair. And I think you rightly said, right? I mean, industrial customers really value predictability more than innovation. Coming from an LP who is fairly industrial, like Schneider Electric, we know what's the DNA of those big companies. And I understand one of the key reasons is also that the fail cost is so high that the value of predictability becomes very high in the industrial sector. So I think that's the reality we all live with. And in terms of what Ashwin was saying that, hey, hardware-backed companies, VCs, it's not the darling baby of VCs to invest in hardware companies. And I mean, when Ashwin met me, the first question I asked him is, what has been the revenue growth of the company for the last 3 years? So, I mean, that's kind of the DNA with all the VCs have been born with, and they go with it. Hey, they really want to see those high growth companies. But I understand, especially if you're focused on climate tech and industrial companies, which are more hardware centric, the usual VC metrics of ARR, the high software growth, the high gross margins, the ACVs, I mean, they usually are not very valid for a climate tech or a deep tech company. And being an investor in this space for last 10 odd years, one of the realities which has really sunk in me is we can have a lot of successful companies in these sectors as well. if we have a mindset of investing in a very non-software kind of a sector. So coming on the question, how a investor like Schneider Electric or how companies or strategic investors like SE Ventures, see, I mean, we will have a lot of capital available across, right, from different VCs and financial platforms. The way where we can really bring a lot of value to a startup is on the strategic lens. So if, for example, you are a startup in the room and are looking for the right investors who can really help you grow the company, can help you on innovation, can be your real partner in the scale-up journey, I think that's where a strategic VC like Schneider, SE Ventures, or it could be, there are so many of them in India, that would really make a lot of sense, especially in the early stages of the company. Because investors like SE Ventures who are more strategic in nature, they can help you on pilots, use cases, they can refine the solution by working with you, they can help you scale up in different markets and geography. So it's basically helping you in three very important things. One is giving you more revenue through pilots, deployments, and customers. They can help you on cost, they can help you on innovation, co-development of products, and then they can help you on new market learnings by virtue of working with you. So I think it's a call every startup usually takes in its journey when they're scaling up. What kind of a strategic investor is more suitable for them? It's always a very difficult question because it can go either ways. But having a strategic investor early on in the journey really is helpful. But yeah, we'll kind of just switch a bit more discussion points. On the whole broader sector of decarbonization and industrial, Ashwin, you have been in this space for long. Especially if I talk of a strong IP-centric companies, I think that's what investors also want to see, right? What has been your experience of engaging with the VC community in India? What kind of things from a startup lens, right, which could also be helpful to the audience here? What are the learnings you want to share engaging with the VCs and engaging with the other startups?
Yeah, so I would say my experience isn't too vast working with VCs. I would say my experience is broader working with end users and customers. Having said that, among VCs, my understanding is that there is a widespread of VCs. There are companies who value IP. There are companies who value revenue, traction, customer feedback much more than IP. In fact, our pre-Series A investor, in our first call, they came back and said, okay, we don't see any significant moat in the company or significant IP in the company, we may not invest. Then just as a touch point, they just said, let me talk to a couple of your customers. And then the customers gave such glowing feedback saying that, okay, we just started with Promethean Energy and we are never going to any other vendor for thermal energy ever. So that just turned it around for them. So there are, at the end of the day, I think if the VCs believe that this company can have either an IP advantage or an operational moat advantage or an engineering advantage, an edge is there, which will ensure that this company can scale and the market is big enough, then I think there should be sufficient interest.
I would agree, and I think even from a VC's lens, I mean, for a climate tech or industrial tech companies, I would always say three things are very important. One of them is either you are operationally very strong. You should have a super operational moat. And what it means is, say, for example, you have a good network effect, right? That, hey, you know, I mean, I have thousands or millions of those things on the ground, and there's a very good network effect which is kicking in. Or you should have a very good tech moat, right? Which maybe, say Ashwin is building a very strong tech moat, you know, where people will take ages to kind of build a technology like you. You can be super defensible in the technology itself. Or the third thing is you have a very good founder market fit or a founder product fit. And what it means is, I mean, the founders are very compelling. They come from the same industry. They have gained a lot of insights about the challenges, about what it really takes to build a good company in this space. So I would say these three things are very important when we look from a venture capital investment perspective. And Ashwin, maybe just focusing on even building Promethean, right? You have reached a decent scale now. I wouldn't say like very early in either the growth stage, but you're in that middle zone of growing a big company. From that lens, what are the challenges which you have faced, right? Building a business in India, growing to some larger numbers. Can you share it with the audience? You know, what exactly were the challenges, and more importantly, how you overcame those challenges, which could be more meaningful for everybody to understand?
If you have to talk about challenges, I can spend the entire day, because every day in a startup's life or a young company's life is a challenge. Challenges can vary anywhere from how to get the next customer to how to get the next hire to how to um, pay the next salaries on time.
Maybe the biggest inflection point challenges, which you think has really helped you achieve some big milestones.
Yeah. Having said that, having, I would say, get good co-founders with you so that you can ride on them. They can be your support points at all points of time. I have one of the best, okay, I would argue the best thermal engineer in the country is my co-founder. Yeah, he's the best thermal engineer in the company. So that really helps. Second, having very solid focus on customer success also really helps to ensure that you are delivering customer delight. Even if you're not making too much profit on some products, it's possible that you have designed a system, given it to customers, and the customer is not super happy. If you can ensure that you go that extra mile and make him more happy, it has really paid us a lot of dividends. As an engineering company with limited sales team, I would say a large part of my customer base are just repeat customers or customers who have left this job and like gone to some other company and they've said, hey, I got a promotion in my earlier company because of Promethean Energy's products. I want the same product over here. That has been one of the best things that has happened to us. In terms of challenges, pure engineering talent in our sector, in the decarbonization sector, is little difficult or challenging to find. So it's either very smart people who have never worked in this sector, whom you have to train, or like people with a lot of experience, but they don't have that DNA of innovation. That's finding the right talent has been a big challenge. So building your own brand, trying to attract people who are interested in you and getting them to join you, that has been another challenge, which we have overcome with some scale. Maintaining financial discipline in a sector where like you are driven primarily by customers, you have to ensure that you need to have a lot of fiscal discipline to ensure you can access bank capital, bank financing, and to ensure that even if venture capital funding is not available, the company will still grow and survive. So that building of proper fiscal discipline in a company driven by engineering entrepreneurs has again been a challenge, but we have managed to solve these. So these are some of the challenges that we face on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah. I mean, I understand, right? I mean, in a deep tech sector, I think these are the challenges. Do you have any funny anecdotes for the audience, right, where maybe the challenges or your interactions with financial VCs, right, who maybe don't understand so much about deep tech, but you're still trying to explain them about deep tech and getting investment dollars? Because I can share one, right? I was talking to a colleague of mine who's a pure play financial VC, and I told him, how do you invest in deep tech companies? And his answer was, it's a gut feeling. Yeah? So, I mean, there are a lot of, it's a difficult sector, I understand, to understand and invest, but a gut feeling based investment for sure is not the ideal one. Then you're better off playing a gamble in a casino. But any of your interactions with the VC community, which has really left a important mark in your growing up journey, or maybe a good learning phase for you?
No, so you have a lot of experiences with the VC ecosystem. So we have had experiences where VCs, we are a proper hardware, as in it's my products, each product is like 5 tons, 10 tons in heavy. So there's like proper metal, compressors, heat exchangers all in place. There have been companies who have come and said, you are at say X crores of revenue this year, can you do 500X next year? So, which in my sector, I don't think it's even theoretically possible. So there have been people who don't understand, but obviously they come in from a software angle, they come in from a software lens where the cost of that incremental deployment is marginal, and maybe there is an opportunity of growing 500X in a year. But there are, I would say a large part of the VC ecosystem in India is still built up from the software base. So maybe understanding of hardware is not too deep in the country. Maybe we will obviously evolve after a few good successful exits in the hardware space. I'm sure the VC ecosystem will deepen. But these have been a couple of examples. Having said that, we have had amazing interactions with people. The VC ecosystem has been very free in helping without expectation of return as well. We have met VCs who have said that, okay, I don't care if I invest in you or not. These are 5 things we will make introductions. So I have had a mix of very positive and somewhat negative experiences as well.
Yeah, well, that's very interesting. Maybe just, last few questions, what I was thinking to get your opinion. One is, you are being in the startup space, and again, it's a sector which is fairly challenging in itself. What has been your learning, if you want to point out maybe top 2 or 3 trends in India on the climate tech side, which you feel very bullish about? Like we had a last session about AI and energy efficiency, and I'm sure like everybody is thinking about AI at the current stage. But what would be your maybe top 2 or 3 sectors where you think India has a very strong advantage and you're also very bullish on the trend?
Yeah, I would love to ask that same question to you also, because you are looking at it from a more global perspective. But uh, I can maybe answer this by being on the ground. I speak to industries on a day in, day out basis. Uh, I am seeing that the shift towards decarbonization is growing at a much faster pace. As I earlier mentioned, post-COVID, uh, every large company is having either a mandate for net zero. There are people whose KPIs are related to carbon. Senior management KPIs which are linked to carbon footprint reduction, energy efficiency reduction. So decarbonization is a huge wave. Within that, I'm seeing energy efficiency was always there, but if you have good financials and energy efficiency is a good sector to be in. I'm seeing the top end companies investing in hydrogen now. That means that 5 to 10 years from now, it may become mainstream. I'm seeing a lot of work happening on the agri front, especially around compressed biogas, a lot of investments happening over there, entire ecosystem getting built around that sector. And obviously renewable. Renewable is something that I think that's a wave that has started long back, and that's just going to keep continuing. These are some of the trends I'm seeing from an industrial landscape. I would love to hear from you also, Siddharth, on what you are seeing.
Yeah, no, and I mean, just listening to those trends, I was kind of thinking, there's such a, I would say, difference in terms of how we think about both the worlds, right? From a startup perspective and an investor perspective. Like, there might be some sectors which look very attractive for innovation and very ripe for innovation, but it may not be so much venture backable, right? And the reason I say is they're not venture backable is because maybe the economics doesn't work, or maybe the scalability is not happening at the moment, or for any other reasons where you really cannot make a money as a venture investor. So it was good to see, what's really happening in terms of the demand. But then if I speak from a pure financial venture investor perspective, there are 3 mega trends which at least, I'm very excited about, which is happening. One is the use of AI in the energy sector. And I know we had a full session just before this on this topic. But I'm just seeing AI not just being used in energy efficiency or building newer models, but even like a replacement of an NVIDIA GPU, right? That could be optimized, or a new form of GPU could be built using AI. We are also seeing a lot of AI in the application of how the models are being interpreted on the GPU infrastructure itself. Maybe CPUs could be used for interpreting those models. So again, a foundational AI purposes and usage in the energy sector or in the semiconductor sector, which is having a very big implication on the climate, is one of the mega trend which we are very excited about. There are a lot of companies we are evaluating, not just in India, but at the global level in this space for investments. The second big thesis for us, which we're going after, is the financing in the energy sector. We firmly believe financing can unlock a lot of potential in way the climate tech innovation is happening. We have portfolios in India which are into solar financing, into other forms of climate tech financing as well. We're also looking at things around how a company like Schneider can really work with those financing agencies, as that is one of the very important value what we bring to the table as part of the investments. And then the third vertical, which is again very interesting, is the whole industrial decarbonization. So there are different solutions and technologies which are used for industrial decarbonization. For sure, Ashwin is building one. We are seeing several forms of industrial decarbonization being built over time. That's again one of the third mega trend what we are very excited as an investor. So yeah, I mean, in the audience, I'm sure there are many startups and early stage companies. If any one of you are in these spaces, please do reach out to me. Would love to have a conversation about these.
Yeah, I'm being told that I need to get off stage immediately by Narsi.
But any questions from the audience, like maybe just one question if somebody wants to ask, but yeah, happy to take it outside as well.
Okay, did I mention about any financial incentives? Okay, so anyway, I have always seen that for starting to adopt a technology, some financial incentives always help. If the management sees that, okay, this is the actual cost, but I'm getting it at slightly better, it improves my IRRs, it helps in the faster adoption of the technology. These can be in terms of subsidies, interest subventions, some sort of ESCO models where the end user doesn't need to pay and it gets paid out of the savings that is generated, with the loan being backed by some collateral which is not given by either party, like a World Bank collateral, etc. is there. So these are some financial incentives which help in initial adoption and rapid growth of the technology. Having said that, I personally believe that technologies should not survive on any of these financial incentives. The only technologies that tend to scale or grow quickly have been those which stand on its own feet, especially in the energy efficiency domain. So maybe these are good to start off with, but technology should be solid enough to stand on its own feet.
I think it's important, right? I mean, the ROI, because every customer would look for ROI. And in some cases, the ROI may evolve over time. So can you really cover that journey when the ROI is still evolving, maybe by unique financial models or new business model innovation? I think that's what Ashwin is also referring. If we can have those interim solutions which can make the adoption far more interesting for the end customer, it would lead to more usage of those technologies. But thanks everyone for listening in.
Thank you.
Thank you for your insightful session. Now I request Ms. Janani Mittal from Technic Energies to come present the momento to our speakers.